You recently saw me take a look at this revolver from Aries and CL Project Design, which is Clarence Lie. And if you haven't seen that already, I suggest go checking it out. It was actually pretty good. We did have a couple of issues, which were mainly just one of the shells didn't pop into the revolver properly, so that's going to have to be looked at. But for the most part, the trigger and the action on this is super smooth. I really enjoyed it. So I decided to pick up the new release. Let me find a place to put this down. And pick up the new one, which is the KORTH Sky Marshal. So let me grab that out and we'll get started with the review. And here it is. Same blue box. I'm guessing that all the Aries revolvers come in these blue cases. This one is just slightly different because it's, instead of Aries and Clarence Lie, it's Aries and Red Wolf Airsoft. So this is the KORTH Sky Marshal. We saw this at RWA. I was really intrigued by it and I wanted to know more. Now, just a quick disclaimer, important information here. What you see in this box is not what you're going to get, but I'll explain that in just a moment. So you do get a nice hard case. We've got RWA, Aries, Sky Marshal, and then we've got the KORTH logo just there. We flip this open. We have a beaten up official license product card, excuse me, and with a QR code and bits on the revolver, so it tells you a bit of the information here. Does it tell us what the velocity is? I don't think it does. We get the revolver, and in the box you will receive 6 shells, and behind the shells is a moon clip. You will obviously see in this case there are 3 extra sets of shells with moon clips. I bought these separately and just ahead of time, like the Clarence Lie one, I just put them together and put them in the box just because they're all in the same place and I could put it to one side. So we're going to take a look at this revolver. So it's a very small revolver. It's got a tiny barrel. Get rid of this plastic here and we'll move this up out the way. So there it is, a tiny little revolver. It's got a big grip. It's extremely comfortable. I would even go as far, let me grab the other one, to say it's more comfortable than this one. Let me have a feel. So that's pretty good. I think it's just as good. It's a little bit different. It's a different shape. It's obviously a slightly different size, but it is extremely comfortable to hold. It almost disappears into your hand and then you've just got this big chunk of metal here. So what is it? It's a CO2 powered airsoft revolver that takes shells that are put into the cylinder just here like other models. We do have a hop up on this, much like the other model that we looked at, which is a TDC style hop, which has a little grub screw on the top here. Proper TDC. Most manufacturers say TDC hop in everything nowadays. Some of them are usually those reviewing VFC models and they say TDC hop, but it's not. This is a true TDC. It's got a grub screw straight onto the top where the hop up is, and as you turn that grub screw in, it puts pressure straight down. There's no linkages, there's no cogs, there's no weird cam systems. It is a TDC, so that little bit out the way. We have obviously a black revolver. It's made of metal. I don't think anything on this is steel, but we'll have a look. So we're all cast metal here. Trigger, hammer, the lot. Obviously the screws are steel, but everything else is some kind of aluminium or cast metal. So we've got markings on here, Sky Marshal. We've got 9mm Luger. We've got the KORTH symbol there. We've got KORTH Germany. I ain't even going to attempt to say that. Waffen Fabric. Maybe the German viewers can point out how that's pronounced. We've got 9x19 and then we've got a little serial number there. The trigger and the hammer are finished in silver. Now, it does feel to me, and again, this might be due to the short barrel, that the hammer spring in this is much stronger. The other model we looked at, this is nice and light and really smooth. On this one, it's a much bigger hammer. It's probably, I prefer the more matte silver to this than the chrome on this one. I think the chrome looks a little bit out of place. But the hammer, you can definitely tell, is a much harder pullback. So they've probably done that to get more pressure from the hammer spring, to put out more CO2, because this barrel is literally like, how long's that? Let's get a little measuring tape here. It's like measuring from the hop screw, just under 2 inches. So, but we got the hammer. The brake is not bad at all. And the double action is because of that harder hammer spring, it's a lot more heavier on the trigger pull. And again, I'm comparing it to this one because it's again an Aries revolver, but the trigger on this is super light, and it's almost like a hair trigger on this. It's very, very good. So if Clarence is doing parts to make the trigger this good, hopefully he'll do some bits where we can shove them in the KORTH there. So the CO2 goes in the grip. We can pull off this rubber overmold grip here. We do have a little tool which we can shove in the bottom, and we can actually use this in conjunction with the grip. It fits in this little slot here if you need a bit more torque. Me personally, I would keep it in there just in case you need it in a pinch, but I like to put the CO2 in, close the grip, and then just use another Allen key to tighten that up. We did have a little leak on the Clarence Lie one. So the difference with this is the cylinder, again, is much, much stickier compared to the other one. So there's a lot of resistance on that cylinder. Whereas the other one, as we opened it up here, it's so buttery smooth. You can literally, I'm not saying you should do this, but I'm just trying to show you, if I pull my hand across it like that, it's so buttery smooth, where this one, maybe we could, yeah, there's just so much resistance there. Maybe we could improve that with a little bit of polishing, who knows. So one thing that you do have to be very careful of is these do not take the same shells. So I'm just going to eject the shells out the other one. These are the standard shells. These come in, I think these are like 357. These come with the normal Aries revolver models, and they also come with the Clarence Lie one. So these are 357 style shells. Now if I quickly pull this one out here, you can see these are based on 9mm. So you can clearly tell that they're not going to work. You can't put these shells in this one. You need the specific KORTH shells. So a lot of brands in the past have not been like super obvious with all their differences in shells. So just note that if you're buying this, it's not cross compatible. You will have to pick them up. That out of the way, I much prefer the look of these shells. They've got the sort of copper coloured, I don't know if this is actual copper, I imagine it might be. But they've got the copper coloured fake rounds here, and you've got the little cuts here. I imagine that's for like hollow points. But from what I can understand, the KORTH Sky Marshal was done in a way where it had a special load where if it was fired on a plane, it wouldn't pierce the outer shell of the plane or something like that. I'm sure the firearms boffins will get down below and give the information needed. But these shells look far better. So you do get 6 in the box. So we can open this up here. You get your 6 shells. You get your moon clip. So we'll just take that out. If I can close that. And it's very simple. You take a shell, you've got a little groove just under the back here, and we're just pushing that on. I find sometimes as I'm pushing it, just to rotate it ever so slightly, it makes putting them in so much easier. I will say, compared to other brands, these moon clips on the Aries revolvers are very, very thin. So they are likely to be prone to bending, so just be careful with them. So we just go around and we slot them in, and this is going to make reloading a lot easier, and you won't have to have any loose shells. It's going to be quicker for you, it's going to be easier for you, and they look cool, don't they? So we take them and we push them into the back revolver, and that's how we load it. So to load it with BBs, it's very simple, and many people keep commenting on this, and I am aware of it. I just didn't say it in the last video, but you can just dump BBs in a bowl and you can just push them down. I'm a little bit more old school with my revolvers, and And it's not that I'm stingy with the ammo. I just tend to have a speed loader on hand where I'll just pop one in each shell. That one dropped in much further. I'm wondering if that's not got an O-ring in. Oh, it does seem like it's staying there. It just seemed to drop in a bit too easy. So that's how you load it. We'll go ahead and load these ones up as well. Just one shell in each. So when you have your revolver loaded, you've got 6 shots and then you need to reload, which is why a lot of people don't use them in games compared to normal like semi-auto airsoft pistols. It's ease of use, capacity of ammo that you've got in your pistol. But if you want to go, you know, full hard difficulty mode, there's nothing more satisfying. It's like pulling off a shot with a sniper rifle. It's just so much more satisfying because you've done just as much with far less. And having used Dan Wessons in the past years ago, I remember being at a mill sim and I pulled it out and I shot, and they're not like known to be crazy accurate, but I pulled this shot off and it hit this guy like 20-30 meters away, and it made me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. So we're going to get a CO2 capsule in this bad boy. I picked up the CO2 capsules, there they are. Grab one out of the bag. Normal 12, I think it's 12 grams, aren't they? Yeah, normal 12 gram CO2 cartridges. We can open this up here. We'll have to wind that out, so we use, I think it's a 6mm Allen key. Yep. So wind that out, drop that in. I like to put this on because I'm a bit of a pansy when it comes to CO2. I don't like it all that much, and you basically want to keep turning until it stops leaking. Which wasn't a lot on this one. That was a much nicer experience than the other one. I'm not hearing any leaks whatsoever. Let's do a quick function check. So we'll shoot a round off. These are generally very loud. Not too bad at all, actually. So we're going to load this up with 0.25 gram BBs, just because it's the weight that I've got, and it's the weight I've been using a lot recently. So the first 3 shots, because we did see a difference on the Clarence Lie one, first 3 shots I'm going to be doing single action. So I'm charging the hammer back and then firing. The last 3 shots I'm just going to be doing double action, where as I pull the trigger, it pulls the hammer back and fires. So just so you know. So here's the first shot on a 2.5. Very low, 0.28. That might be because it's a new shell, a new CO2 capsule. No, it's not. 0.248 joules. Do one more. It might be because of the amount of CO2 that's coming out of the revolver, actually. So I'm gonna be a little bit further back as I do double action. So that one came out at 1.156. So I think there's just that much CO2 gas coming out of this. It's tripping the chrono. 0.795. 1.383. Again, I think we're probably going to be around 0.7 to 1 joule. It's just the gas coming out is tripping the chrono. I'll keep chronoing it though, so we can have an idea of what's going on. Let's try that again. So we'll go back on a 2.5. We're just going to do single action on these shots. First shot, 0.315. 2 joules. Yeah, I think it's just the gas spoofing the chrono. I'm trying to shoot it further away. 0.256. 2.5. 2.7, 3.3, and when I shot nothing there, it said 11.87. So this is putting out so much CO2 that it's just, we're not reading it on the chrono. But we'll keep going. We'll see if it gets any better as the CO2 gets a little bit more empty. 1.3, 0.32, 0.32. 0.33, 0.34, 0.298. And then what we're going to do, we're going to just trim that hop up ever so slightly. I do have an Allen key. What do I do with it? There it is. 1.5mm Allen key. And we're just gonna try and look through the barrel as I do this. Just trying to see. Right, there we go. So put a bit of hop on, just a little bit. We'll see if this makes a difference. Another 6 shots on 2 5s. 0.396, 0.308, 2.82, crikey, 0.327, 0.33, 0.349. Yeah, so it's going to be low powered. I think we're going to be sort of hovering around the half a joule, but and just to prove this to you, so this is empty. There are no rounds in this. We'll load one up. Well, we'll just cock the hammer and 12 joules. Like it makes no sense. So might get better as we it's really nice to fire, to be honest. The trigger being heavier, it isn't actually all that bad. So with this one, did we still have a CO2? Let's put CO2 caps in this one as well. You can rip the rounds really, really fast. We'll see if this one's still leaking. Just put it to my ear. Yeah, it is. This one is leaking, but we'll try the same with this. We'll get some empty shells. If you can hear that. I'm going to have to pull this one apart and see if we can fix that leak. I don't think it's at the bottom here. I think it's at the top. Of all things, I thought it would be the Clarence Lie one that would be better, and just the Aries and RWA, or even the normal Aries revolvers, would be the ones that have the issue. So we're going to do an empty shell. See, we don't get it on this. So I think the hammer spring is just so hard. So it's registering nothing. Where on this one we don't get anything. So it's not reading anything. That's just the last reading. What I will say about these revolvers is they're very quick on the action. It's very so obviously the hair trigger on this is super nice, but and the Sky Marshal is just the same. To be honest, even though it's a heavier trigger, there's something a little bit more satisfying about using that one. I don't know what it is. Maybe because it's a smaller frame and you can just sort of get on it a little bit more, and it's a lot louder. We've got a lot more air going through the system. So there it is, a nice little nugget. I wanted to get one, add it to the collection. This annoys me, which these will be chrome plated, so you know you could come in and Cerakote these or whatever and change the colour of them to be a little bit more desirable, which we can do on the rest of the parts, but I don't really want to take all these markings off. I kind of wanted it as it is. Maybe we'll put a nice colour on this cylinder and see if we can polish that up and get it a bit nicer, but without being able to easily pull the chrome plate. If anyone knows of anyone in the UK, close to the Midlands, that can remove chrome plating like this, please get in touch with me, because I want to do it on that, and I also want to do it on my Dan Wesson. I want to remove all this chrome plating because I want to add colour, but the way that we do Cerakote is it's very difficult to do with this chrome plating on, because it deflects the blast media and it lifts the plating, so it like peels off. It's really strange. So if anyone's got a line on anyone that can help me out with that, jump into my DMs or in the Discord. The link's in the description below. So yeah, a nice little collector piece, I think. I might even take this with me. I'm going to a game at HC2 on Friday. I'm going to be running my PTX. I might take this as a little sneaky backup and just see if I can get anyone with it, because it'd be quite funny. I did question, and somebody could put in the comments about the rails on the side, and I don't know if they were referencing this one for the laser. The one I questioned was this, because what are you fitting there? Unless it's maybe, I thought it might be something for like a holster. If it's like a concealable thing for you know, sky marshals, maybe they can have something that clips onto here with like a, basically like a prong, and it will fit into a pocket or a waistband. I don't know. Let me know down in the comments below. But this thing looks and feels great. We're just going to have to see if we can do, let's see if it's still doing it. Yeah, we're still doing 1000 FPS. Let's see if we can get a more accurate readout on the power of this thing. Put some more rounds in it. Let's give it one more go. It was the most consistent that came out, or the average was in the 0.3 ranges. So let's give it another go. Yeah, 0.356. I think that's going to be about right, to be honest. And then you let the gas go through with 2 joules. So very, very nice and quick to shoot. You do get a little adjustable rear eye on there as well, if you wanted one. Finding holsters for these things are probably going to be a little bit more difficult, but I think this is, you know, a last-ditch effort. You've maybe got a primary, and you stow this away in your gear somewhere if you don't want to carry like a normal sidearm, or maybe you've got a sidearm and this is just like your little sneaky piece that you take to milsim events or something. Or, like me, you're a collector and you just love cool stuff and you want to pick it up. But the markings are great. I'd love to change the colour on these. I think it'd be nice to get them either like a steel, like a black steel colour, or we can change it and make it, you know, the cylinder bronze or something, I don't know, so it fits in with the other one. So I'm going to go now because I'm waffling. So there it is, the Aries and KORTH Sky Marshal. Hope I've answered any questions you may have if you're looking to pick one of these up. Just like the Clarence Lie one, they're not cheap, but they are, like I say, more of a collector's piece than a serious airsoft sidearm. So we'll leave it there. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to check out the Jaeger Precision Discord, like I mentioned earlier. Link will be down in the description below. And as always, from me and Bench, we'll be seeing you in the next one.